Imagine walking into a room where every eye is fixed on you, not because of your confidence, but because of the tiny hand clutching yours. That's exactly what happened to Daniel, a struggling single dad who walked into a job interview carrying not just his resume, but his little daughter, Lily. From that moment, people whispered, eyes judged, and silence filled the room. But none of them knew the story behind why a father had no choice but to bring his child to the most important interview of his life. And none of them expected what the CEO did next that would leave everyone speechless. Stay with me until the end, because this story will not only touch your heart, it will remind you of the power of kindness and resilience. And if you feel moved by it, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss stories that inspire hope and courage. Daniel had been through storms most people couldn't even imagine. His wife had passed away suddenly 2 years ago, leaving him alone to raise Lily, who was only 4 at the time. Since then, his life had been a constant juggling act, working odd jobs, paying rent late, and trying to be both mother and father to a little girl who still asked at bedtime why her mommy wasn't there to kiss her goodnight. He would smile through her tears, even though his heart was breaking inside. When the letter came for a final round interview at a prestigious company, Daniel knew this was his one chance to give Lily the life she deserved. He had prepared every answer, ironed his only decent shirt, and prayed harder than ever before. But life, as always, had its own plans. On the morning of the interview, the babysitter called to cancel last minute. He couldn't afford daycare, and every neighbor he called had their own commitments. He looked down at Lily, her tiny backpack on her shoulders, her innocent eyes watching him. He had 2 choices: miss the interview, or take her along. With a deep breath, he whispered, "We'll do this together." When he entered the building, polished floors and glass walls reflecting success all around, the receptionist's eyebrows raised immediately. A child? At an interview? Daniel ignored the stares and tried to focus. But in the waiting room, whispers floated, unprofessional. Doesn't he have anyone? What kind of father brings a kid here? Daniel sat quietly, holding Lily close, pretending not to hear. Lily, sensing her dad's tension, squeezed his hand and whispered, "Daddy, you're brave." That small voice gave him courage to sit straighter, even while shame tried to weigh him down. Finally, his name was called. He stood, adjusted his tie, and walked toward the panel. Lily held his hand tighter. The room was filled with executives, sharp suits, and cold eyes. Some chuckled softly at the sight. One woman frowned, clearly unimpressed. Daniel cleared his throat, ready to apologize, but before he could speak, the large glass doors at the back opened. The CEO himself walked in. Everyone stiffened. He was a man known for his no-nonsense attitude and high standards. Silence dropped heavier than ever. He looked at Daniel, then at Lily, then slowly, to everyone's shock, he pulled up 2 chairs. One for Daniel. One for Lily. "Let's begin," the CEO said calmly, as though nothing was unusual. The panel looked confused, but no one dared question him. Daniel blinked back tears of gratitude. Lily sat beside him, her legs swinging, coloring quietly on a piece of paper. When the questions began, Daniel answered with honesty and determination. Every answer reflected not only his skills but also the grit of a man who had survived hardship and kept pushing forward. At one point, Lily dropped her crayon and whispered, "Daddy, can I show them my drawing?" Daniel froze, unsure. But the CEO leaned forward and said, "Of course, sweetheart. Let's see." She held up a picture of her and her dad holding hands under a big sun. "This is me and Daddy. He's my hero," she said with a shy smile. The room, once filled with judgment, fell into a silence heavy with emotion. A few eyes even softened. By the end of the interview, Daniel expected nothing more than a polite rejection. But the CEO stood and said, "Daniel, you have something more valuable than any degree or resume: perseverance, loyalty, and the ability to lead with heart. That's the kind of person this company needs. He turned to Lily and added, and I think your daddy is already a CEO at home. Tears streamed down Daniel's face as applause broke out from the panel. For the first time in years, he felt seen, not just as a struggling single father, but as a man who had fought battles and kept standing. That very day, he was offered the job. Later, as they walked out of the building, Lily asked, "Daddy, did we win?" He smiled, lifting her in his arms. "We didn't just win, baby. We proved that love and courage are stronger than anything." And to everyone watching this, life will throw challenges that seem impossible. People will judge you, doubt you, and whisper behind your back. But if you hold on, if you keep moving forward with courage, one day someone will pull up a chair for you too. Never give up. If this story touched your heart, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories that remind us of hope, kindness, and the power of never giving up. Because sometimes, the smallest hands can lead us to the biggest victories.